What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Thursday of Team Nitto at home talking with Tuerck. We have Ryan Davis of Race Service.
I'm here.
You!
You guys, hold on. Let me just cut off Tuerck right now. Tuerck is going to light himself on fire for today's show, guys. No, he's not. I'm just kidding. But it's going to be a great show. We got Bergenholtz up in here. We got Tuerck. We got Supras. We got all sorts of stuff happening. I don't know. I'm just excited. I was in a long meeting, and I just jumped out to this, and I'm hyped. Are you hyped?
I'm hyped, dude. Yes. I pounded like 3 rock stars while I was working out. I'm hyped. Hyped AF right now. Guys,
let's do it.
Hit us with your comments. As always, let's get into some comments real quick. So populate the Facebook page or my YouTube channel. Let us know what you guys want answered. We got the Super back here looking stylish with some new Rotoform wheels, some new Nitto NTO1s, some 285/35 19s. And it's sitting nice and decently low, proper low, on some BC Racing coilovers.
It's pretty good, I gotta say.
What do you guys think?
It came to life over the last little bit. We also have Ron Bergenholtz, legend. Oh, he's here. I cannot wait to just basically talk a bunch of shit. So that's what it is. So I'm excited. So yeah, what do we do first?
Any questions come in?
Oh yeah, questions. You guys got to log, or you got to ask questions. We've got Tuerck here.
I love answering your guys' questions. So hit us with some questions if you guys are already on. If not, me and Ryan are just going to keep BSing like we usually do. So
exactly. And then also, if you have questions for Ron Bergenholtz, everybody, Ron Bergenholtz is.
Yeah. Well, let's do a quick intro for Ron before an intro to Ron. So Ron Bergenholtz, he works under Nitto Tire, and he helps us a ton at FD events. He is like one of our major analytic guys. So he'll come to the rig after practice and kind of tell us a lot of data of other drivers, ourselves, and where our car setup is on track. So he is like super on point, and his background is import drag racing and drag racing in general. And he came from one of the first wave generations in import drag racing with like Steph Papadakis and a million other guys that I don't know because they're not in drifting. But Ron is in drifting, had a team in Formula Drift, and so obviously so does Steph Papadakis. So we're going to talk about their history together, their rivalry together, if there was a rivalry, and also we're going to talk about them now working together once again.
It's true. It's like daytime drama. This is like Married with Children for car people. So everyone just join in. We're going to try to get him to talk some shit on the rivalry. But
100%.
Who knows? We'll see.
100%.
Yeah. And also what Tuerck was talking about too is, Ron would be the guy that would be like, getting speeds of cars coming in, tire temperatures, like analyzing runs in the way that people would be treading, and then at the end of the day, go in and full reviews. Like it's like being at a proper race, and your, crew chief or manager comes in and explains your race day.
It's like the next step beyond your spotter.
Absolutely.
So like Ron is really good because he's giving my spotter, Brian Hartsock of Unicorn Garage, information to be able to then tell me on track, or the technicians, Nick or Dominic, who are working on the car in the pit to, hey, we should try, based on the information that we get, we should try this setup, or go down in tire pressure, go up in tire pressure, toe in, camber out, toe out, you know what I mean? Just like all the stuff that we normally do, sway bar setting changes, all that stuff. So it's really good to have that dude.
Yeah, it shows
on our team and like having our back.
Yeah, it goes to show Nitto's level of care and trying, because to have someone technical like that who also talks that much shit is just a perfect person to have at a racetrack. I assure you, it keeps everybody on their toes.
That's true. All right, so if we don't have any questions, let's intro Ron. We have any questions? Yeah. Okay, we got a couple quickies.
Let's do it. Let's knock them out.
People are already asking about your turbo setup for the car. If you have an upgrade in mind for the Supra.
I got a lot of upgrades in mind for the Supra. We just did come off the dyno. Ken from Wedge Performance and Steve also from Wedge Performance. They tuned the thing with the MHD tuner on the European Auto Source dyno down in Anaheim. Or is it Irvine? Anaheim or Irvine, I always forget. Anyway, at European Auto Source, they helped us out a lot, and we made some pretty freaking good numbers on some VP Racing MS-109 race fuel. I have to say, the gains on a stock car with like a downpipe and an intake from AEM, we did the VRSF high flow downpipe and the AEM intake, and it was ridiculous. I couldn't even believe it.
It's definitely a huge gap.
I couldn't even believe it.
And not to mention that too, the sound. The sound now is so much better.
Oh, woke it straight up.
The sound is good. Now it's like...
Now it sounds like a proper inline six. Not that it didn't before, but when you have a stock exhaust on, it just muffles everything.
Yeah.
as it should for road driving and all that. So it's up to us.
It depends.
It's up to our community to change that.
Perfect.
So yeah, so no big turbo upgrades yet. I'm kind of like slowly doing stuff and want to enjoy it a little bit along the way. So that's kind of the deal.
Good answer. That was a good PC answer.
Someone asked your thoughts on the new FD schedule.
Thoughts on the new FD schedule. This could be a long one, but
that's a good one.
Just to give everybody kind of a peace of mind, it's a blessing and a bummer, obviously, with everything that's going on this year. So I really want to just thank Formula Drift for actually coming through with a schedule, because I know that their backs were against the wall, and they could have just said, no, we're going to wait until 2021 and we're not even going to have a season this year. So that would have caused so much turbulence and so many issues for drivers, sponsorships, contracts, where it changes everything. It's not something where you can just go to your sponsor and say, oh, let's just roll this money into next year. It's like, no, like that's not the way marketing budgets work for these bigger corporations and even smaller businesses as well. So for them to be able to put something together, and it doesn't, it was a balancing
just basically
act.
What Tuerck's trying to say is, just like every other race series, everyone here has been completely challenged, right? You have the city ordinances, you're dealing with states, governments, all this type of stuff, and Jim and Sage clearly have been doing anything they could to organize and strategically get together some rounds to get people out there. And like F1, NASCAR, some of these are going down with like super limited media, super limited people there and all that. We can all expect that, but yeah, I guess everyone's just hyped to be able to shred, right?
We are. I'm hyped. I'm definitely hyped to be able to shred. And yeah, I mean, obviously I am. My biggest bummer is not hitting my favorite track, which is Road Atlanta, and also my favorite place on earth, which is Englishtown, New Jersey, which was the second time we would have ever gone there for Formula Drift, and that is my home track for drifting and my home for drifting, and that's where I started. That's where I met Chris. That's where I met Vaughn. That's where I met Tony Angelo, Matt Petty, Tim, and so many other amazing people in the drifting community at Englishtown for Club Loose. So that's a massive bummer, but I'm sure that things are going to kick off there no matter what, and I will be there to have some fun regardless. So yeah, it is what it is, and we're going to push forward, and everybody just know that things will slowly come back to normal, and 2021 should be a full normal season. But bear with everything, because everybody is putting everything they have into drifting and professional drifting, and making sure that we do have a season to at least compete, because I want to do some competition.
You were on a good roll last we checked, so I'm excited to see what's going on.
End of the year, pretty good.
Kind of good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm ready to see you shred. Let's do it.
All right, let's intro Ron Bergenholtz.
Let's get him in here.
We're talking about FD. Ron's a big part of FD.
Let's scoot over here. Now do we shift?
Okay.
Los, let's shift. We'll go over here. Hey, look at this guy. Wow.
Can you guys hear me?
What's going on? Oh, we kind of hear you.
What's up, everybody?
We need to turn this up a little bit.
I don't know. We'll let Carlos.
Can you hear me? Test 1, test 2, test 3.
1 sec, Ron.
All right.
All right, we're good. There we go.
We hear you. This light right now. Look at the side lighting we're getting here. I'm actually way more tan than this in real life.
I
know. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, life's good. Just been waiting for the season to start, and especially. Come on, it's just like, oh shit. Me and Harry have been like really excited to see what's gonna happen, but I've been always an odds guy, right? And I think Ryan Tuerck is way overdue for a championship.
I would say so.
That's what I'm saying.
Me and Harry talk about odds and stuff like that, right? And and I know Stefan. I know Papadakis Racing. I've known them for over 20 years. And I know what kind of people that, Sean Hilliard, Aldo, you know what I mean? I know how they think, especially Stefan. Stefan is a tricky motherfucker, right? And so with that, right, with Ryan joining that crew and already having a year of R&D with the demo car, right? Like if I was a betting man, and mind you, for the past 6-7 years, all I've been doing is watching cars, watching what people do, watching what all the racers do. You know what I mean? In my opinion, I'd put a G down on Ryan.
All right.
I might have to match that.
That's a good
based
odds.
based on the odds, you have to understand that you missed the race last year. If you didn't miss that race, right, from the crash in Long Beach, you would have finished top 3 easy. You know what I mean? Easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So alliancing. I'm not saying your crew wasn't good, right? What I'm saying is that Papadakis is a new echelon, right? CNC part. I mean, and plus you have to understand who Stefan is allianced with. He's in the alliance with the good old boy network. You know what I mean?
Right.
All them old guys have been racing for like 40, 50 years, and now he's got access to their brain. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it shows with his cars. I mean, who the fuck is going to put Alcon brakes on a drift car? Come on. You know what I mean? He's got the best of the best on that car. So with you being with Papadakis Racing, right, the odds went up extravagantly. Nothing to take away from your crew and your existing resources, right?
Well, yeah,
but,
and him adding that element to the program adds a whole new thing because there's Steph has a different way of doing things than we did. I had a smaller budget to work with and did as well as I could with that. But now joining a Steph Papadakis program, there's more. There's already a built program there, so I'm stepping into an already proven chassis that's already kind of handled. So the budget thing isn't really much of an issue.
You did amazing things with your current program, okay? Now you're going to add a variable called Papadakis Racing. You know?
Very similar.
I got a G on Ryan.
All right, I like the sound of this G. All right.
Okay.
All right, hold on. Let's back it up though, Ron. Let's back it up. I want you to talk about your involvement in race day or race weekends of competition in Formula Drift. Kind of walk us through your job description and if you want to talk. Right. I know you do a lot. You do a lot, and you might not want to talk about all of it. So.
I'm not going to give all the monkeys, right? But the biggest thing, right, is observation. Observation, right? Less talking, lots of eyes, ears, everything, right? Practice, you're watching everybody. The biggest thing with what Nitto's got me involved in, Ron Bergenholtz, right, is to arm the drivers with intel. All the Nitto sponsored drivers with intel. Everything from, it could be something as stupid as, they just flew in, they might not be feeling right, or, they particularly, I noticed in practice they were sandbagging, and now they upped their ante in qualifying. And I got to arm our drivers with the necessary information so that way they can adjust their cars. You don't want to bring a knife to a gunfight. You know what I mean? They might have been fighting in qualifying. Your competitor, the guy you're up against in top 32, top 16, top 8, they might have been fighting with a knife, and then all of a sudden they break out a shotgun, right? It's my job to let you know, hey, it's time to bring out the AR-15 with the big banana clip. You know what I mean? I know you guys have. I know my Nitto guys have been fighting with a shotgun too, but I know you guys got an AR-15 and a bazooka in the back, right? But you have to know when to bring out the AR-15 with the big magazine in it or the bazooka, right? Naturally. Usually, like when we get into the finals, I mean, you'll hear, I'll be texting your spotter saying, hey, you better fucking throw the kitchen sink in and pull out the bazooka. You know what I mean?
That could happen in top 32, It's true. These days.
Yeah. But when I see you guys in like top 4, top 8, right? Fuck, dude, everybody starts bringing out, their shotgun. But not to be an arrogant asshole, right? But nobody's got nothing when all our Nitto drivers are armed with like a fucking tank. You know what I mean?
Right.
Literally. Okay. So, it's very important to arm you guys with the proper tools to beat the competition.
100%.
You know what I mean? We have to beat the competition. Period.
So Ron, you play a massive role throughout the weekend in like you said, giving us intel and
information is gold.
Helping us set up our cars so that they are either very easily drivable and competitive, or if we have to put them on the ragged edge where they are almost uncontrollable to be able to beat somebody. So we have to always go through that balance of car setup based on a lot of your insight.
Yeah. The setup, you guys know your cars. You guys know what it'll do if you put a wedge here, put a little bump here. You know what I mean? My job is to let all the teams know, hey, you need to step up a little bit and improve your performance in this particular zone. You know what I mean? I break up the racetrack in particular areas, right? And those areas need to be addressed. You might shine in 3 out of the 4 areas, right? And then your competitor might happen to be shining in 2 out of the 4, but you're lacking in 2 of those zones compared to them. It's my job to tell you, hey, you need to fix this area and tell your crew to do whatever. But we're talking Days of Thunder thing. Put a little wedge here, put a little needle here. You know what I mean? But if you guys are armed with information on your next competitor, I would imagine it makes it that much easier. So that way if you got a fighting chance.
Yeah, you have expectation. You have an expectation of how somebody's running, and then you can, devise your plan and set up your car based on that next competition.
I leave it up to you guys to know your car and how much you got in it. You know what I mean?
And also, what he's meaning is, like, let's say Tuerck is really fast through 2 zones, but then kind of is a little bit slower through another zone and faster. Then Ron would be able to see that, note it, and then also note your competitor is really fast right there. Like, you have to make changes right there.
Yeah.
And then when that happens, Tuerck can see, oh yeah, maybe I'm going too wide here or whatever the case, and then he can tighten up that specific portion, and then Ron's job is done. Also in style, as he sits under an umbrella next to the track, often with a little thing of water. He really does it right. That's what I'm trying to say.
He does.
That's one of the things with Nitto, right? Even throughout all my years, I've been with Nitto for close to 25 years now, right? One of the things with Nitto, right? The biggest priority is winning. Win. We're talking Charlie Shin winning. You know what I mean? And so they brought me on to help to do what I can. I'm not saying, I'm probably maybe 5 to 10% in my opinion, 5 to 10% of the equation. You know what I mean? The drivers for Nitto are, 60%, 70%, maybe 80%. And then, it's a bunch of variables, but it goes to the same saying goes, 2 heads are always better than 1. You know what I mean? And then as soon as you get all this information, it makes your job easier. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. I can say, oh man, that your competitor's been jacking up, messing up on this zone nonstop. So be careful when you get into that zone, because it's going to be like a box of chocolates. You're not going to know what you're going to get from this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I do. You know what I mean? I try to arm you with information, and based on that information, you make sound decisions to beat your competitor to a bloody pulp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. All right, Ron, let's jump back in time. Let's go back to your import drag racing days, because I want to hear maybe some crazy stories.
I want war stories. I want drama.
Yeah, I want to hear
some shit.
Okay.
Yep. So
I got a lot of stories. All right. Well.
So we'll start off with where you started, what kind of cars were, like what kind of engines, turbos, like front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, all that.
Back in the late '80s, we started. Even Stefan Papadakis started off street racing at the streets of Compton, right? And we wanted to stand out and have a challenge, right? We were the young youth, right? And so instead of buying, a V8 or something along those lines, we raced these little 4-bangers. And instead of putting the drive wheels in the rear, we did it in the front, right? For a challenge, right? And so that started in the street races, and, it started to get mainstream, right? And took it off the streets because people were getting hurt or killed, right? And took it professionally with Battle the Imports. In fact, Nitto helped build the import industry in general, right? They were one of the first people to dump money into it, right? Whether it be show car scene with Import Show Off or Battle the Imports. So as time went on, it just started becoming mainstream. The biggest highlight is like, don't you got the wheels on the wrong side? Aren't they supposed to be the back, right? And the fact that these front wheel drives can do what they did, these amazing things, and even beat the rear wheel drive cars, made it so amazing and made that industry stand out. So kept drag racing. NHRA gets into it. People like Edelbrock start making parts for all these little 4-bangers and that sort of thing, right? Because it was amazing what they can do. And considering the car you're driving, Ryan, right? is based on the history of drag racing.
Right.
Stefan Papadakis, right? He's able to extract and create a dependable. Most people take the easy route, V8, right? But with your four-banger, guess what? Your four-banger in your Toyota Corolla, right, comes with all the years from the late 80s to the early 90s. All the stuff that Stefan experienced was it 30 years of technology, and Stefan's experience is what you're driving this year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
The four-cylinder market, drag racing, you wouldn't be driving the car you're driving now with the power plant in it if it wasn't for our experiences in drag racing.
Ron, I want to hear some specific facts. So weren't you and your brother, you guys are both on the same team, and were you the driver, or was your brother the driver, and then what you guys are...
I started off as the driver, right?
Yeah.
Me, believe it or not, your team owner, Papadakis Racing, me and him used to be part of the same team called Wicked Racing, right? And so our firm belief was to be the best of the best, right?
Yeah.
And so I started driving, and then, there wasn't that much technology with four-cylinder stuff, so I kept grenading stuff, right? And I got tired of losing money, right? And so I'm a mechanic. I don't make much money to begin with. So I stopped racing altogether and went to show, right, for Bergenholtz Racing, right? And then Ed became the driver. He was a computer nerd, just like Vaughn, right?
Yep.
So he was making money, so he's able to be a racer, right? Racing, it costs a lot of money, even back in the day, right?
Of course.
And so I took care of the show side for Bergenholtz Racing. Ed took care of the drag racing side. Shows get, kind of boring, right? So I quit doing that and ended up I was also crewing and managing the racing, engine, getting to the racetrack, blah, 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 plus doing shows, right? And so with that, full-time, believe it or not, I used to work for AEM, right? And I left that, my cushy job at AEM, right? And went full-time for the dream, making, I was making cup of noodles and 10 grand a year. Because, when you got passion, it's not about the money, right?
Yeah.
And so, long story short, after being crazy and innovating and, innovation is key, right? We captured 2 NHRA championships back-to-backs against General Motors, and, NHRA left, so that means drag racing died, right? And so we diversified into drift, and obviously Ed didn't know how to drift, so he became the computer nerd guy tuning the motor, right? I became the crew car chief, and then, we hired drivers to go drifting. And then push came to shove, I guess, due to economics, I had to back off, and now I'm more of a consultant for NITO, whether it be marketing assets, or in this case for Formula Drift, right? Arming the drivers to help them win. Because with NITO, it's all about winning. You know what I mean? Winning and championship. Top priority, because when you win, everything is easier. You know what I mean? But
all right, so
I got $1,000 on you, Ryan.
I know. All right, so
That's Bergenholtz Racing.
Isn't Bergenholtz Racing the first team to go 9s in the quarter with a front-wheel drive?
Okay, there's a long story about that, right? But real quick, basically,
officially or unofficially?
Stefan Papadakis was the first person to do 9s, period, in a front-wheel drive car. There's no doubt about that. But you have to understand, he was a full tube chassis, $100,000
But you're talking
car,
street. We're talking street chassis. We're not talking tube chassis. We're talking
street chassis. We were the first to go 9s, right? In a full body car and a CRX, right?
Yes.
We are the first to put wheelie bars on a front wheel drive car where all the rednecks are all going, hey, don't you get, how did that wheelie bar work? If the front wheel's in the front. And I just tell them we're just a bunch of stupid kids. You know what I mean? But innovation breeds, setting records or doing amazing things, or in Kobe Bryant's words, being the best that you can be version of yourself.
So at that time,
you know what I mean?
At that time, you're talking Steph was in a tube chassis car. You guys are in more of a street style chassis. Now, are those both competing in the same class? Like, what was the timing of both of those?
It's funny. The summer, the spring of 1999, right? Real quick, Steph, nobody was able to hit 9s. Everybody stuck in 10s, right? And so SEMA comes around in 98, right? 98. Steph shows up with a tube chassis front wheel drive car. We're like, what the fuck? Right? Oh, sorry. We're like, oh my God, dude, you have to do that to hit 9s? And so me and my brother, we're the type, you can't tell me that you have to do that to do that. So famous words of Vinny 10 out in New York, right? I may not have $1 million. Now, this is his quote. I may not have $1 million, but I got a million fucking ideas, right? And so that message that when we met him went a long way, right? So with Stefan introducing that tube chassis car, we're like, F that, right?
Yep.
F that.
Yep.
We're going to do it in our car, right? So test, do crazy stuff. And mind you, wheelie bars on a front wheel drive didn't exist then. So we're thinking out of the box. So we're drinking a lot of beer, right? Looking at the car going, what can we do to go up against Steph, right? We didn't see it as too bad. We said, we're going to try to beat him, right? So spring of 99, Battle of the Imports shows up. He runs a 990, right? We ran a 1036, right? Come summer, and we were the first to introduce wheelie bars. Nobody had them, and we were 4/10 away from Stefan, right? So there's some rivalry going on right there.
Of course.
Summer, all right. Then the summer race comes, but we go testing again. All about testing. John Tuerck said it best. Ron, races aren't won at the racetrack. They're won in the garage and testing. So
okay, I want one little anecdote. I want one little piece of information. How much power are your guys' engines producing at this time? Period.
At that time, they were making about 450. I think Steph was making about 500-600, right?
That's it?
But, yeah, that's all they were making. I mean, what do you want me to do? It's an evolution. Nobody's jerking around with lawnmower motors. You know what I mean?
Were you guys running nitrous too? Were there nitrous on the cars or no?
Nah, just turbo only. The
Yeah.
nitrous was counterproductive, right? Steph was only turbo. We were only turbo. So before the summer battle, right, we go testing, and the record at the time set by Steph in the spring was 997, right? So he's the first. We go out testing, we ran an unofficial 987. So we dethroned him for a month, right? And then summer battle comes up, and we're throwing numbers at each other like crazy. First, he comes back, and he's re-kinged, and then we come back, and then we're re-kinged, all happening on one day. And then he throws a number back at us, and now he's king, and that was it. He set the bar at a 960 something. We were at a 973. So it's
But that all happened in one event. That all happened in one event. That little toe-to-toe in the 9s.
All in one event.
That's crazy.
Nuts. But my biggest thing was ever since 98 SEMA, when he introduced that car, is I'm a big proprietor of David versus Goliath, me being David, right? And we brought that on for years to come, nonstop, right? And so, after Steph, we're trying to prove to the people, the public, that you don't need to spend $100,000 on a tube chassis car. You could do it with the unibody car, so don't lose hope. Next one for Bergenholtz Racing was GM comes in with $1 million, blah, 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 and all of these ex-NASCAR guys and wind tunnel testing and all this stuff. And me and my brother, Bergenholtz Racing, is running it out of a 2-car garage, right? And what do we do? What do we do?
You smoke them.
And competitors start falling off. They're like, I'm not building anymore. I can't compete against GM. But me, because of what happened in the past, right? Our past, is we wanted to prove that money don't win. Money don't win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look, we went up against General Motors. Dude, I didn't even have 10% of the budget they had, right? And we were able to get back-to-back championships against General Motors. You know what I mean?
That's crazy, dude.
And get this, they end up arming all their teams with motors that was built in their division, right? Bergenholtz Racing, we had to build our own motors. We didn't farm that out. Mazda didn't go, oh, well, here's a 1,500 horsepower. No, we had to come up with that stuff. You know how much beer we drank?
I saw, when I was driving for Gardella back in the day, who you were competitors with in import drag race days as well. We ran some of those GM drag race engines in the drift car. Yeah.
It's like, how much horsepower you need? All right, we're sending it UPS. Come on. We had to take the hard route, man. We blew up a lot of stuff. We lost a lot of money. We almost went insane because we couldn't figure out something. But one thing's for sure, to anybody out there, right? Anybody out there, hard work pays off. That's why I got a G on you, Ryan. I got a G on you. You are well overdue. The racing gods deserve a championship.
I appreciate that, Ron. Thank you.
Keep up the hard work. Keep up going crazy. Hard work pays off. Period.
Absolutely, 100%. Every time. Every single time.
That's Bergenholtz Racing. And racing is its own little god. It'll tease you. It'll pick at you.
It 100% is.
It'll make you go through pain. It'll drag you bloody in the gutter, right? and 99% of the time, it'll kill you, right?
99% of the time, yeah. You're looking for that 1%. The 1% is what keeps you going when you get a little taste of it.
No, but when you get a taste of success, oh my God, it's worth it. But I got a G on you, bro. Maybe even 5 Gs.
There it is.
Hey, all right. Let's Ron. Let's see if there's any questions for you. We got anything coming in for Ron? If you guys are out there right now watching, hit us with some questions. If you want to hear anything about old school import drag racing with Ron, what he does now, or just questions in general. So hit us with something.
Yeah, I'm 38 now, and I got my first Civic in '99 when it dropped, and that's when that was happening. So just think that when I was 16 or something at that time, or when I was getting my first car like that, it was like looking at you guys and stuff and all this, and I
see this?
Yeah, I know.
See this right here? I'm an old guy.
We're on our way, don't worry.
Yeah, we're there. We're getting there too.
There's nothing on the other side of 40, bro.
What's up, Los?
Someone's asking if Chelsea DeNofa, I guess, drove the Bergenholtz RX-8.
Yes. Yep. So yeah. Ron, why don't you talk us a little bit about the drifting program that you had? I think for 4 or 5 years in Formula Drift.
I think so, yeah.
You guys campaigned in RX-8. You had a few different drivers.
We had 4. See, this is one thing. Okay, I'll be open to admit. Okay, I'll be open to admit. Right. With drag racing, it's cut and dry. Right. It's cut and dry. Either you put your heart and soul in it, and you're rewarded by number. Right.
Yeah.
My biggest thing, right, that with drifting, we put all the technology, all the Motec, all the data logging, being able to share that information with the driver, tell them what they're doing, telling them how many Gs they're pulling on a corner, that at this RPM, it's producing more Gs. We're able to do that. Me and my brother and our crew, my whole crew, right, we're a bunch of nerds, right? But the thing with drifting is there's that subjective part. You know what I mean? And it's always going to be like that. There's always going to be conflict. But for me, Bergenholtz Racing, it was kind of hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To understand
you're used to one world where you work your butt off, and if you put the time and effort into it and you do the testing, you are rewarded 100% with a number.
Yeah.
Whereas in drifting, you can work as hard as you want, and sometimes you're still judged by your performance, not a time, which I can understand.
And so it was hard for me. Right? It was hard, right? And then also, obviously, during the particular time we had Full Tilt Poker, right? That was a long-term deal, right? And so when Full Tilt Poker went down, we sort of went down too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the economics drive whether or not you're going to be racing. But thank goodness, NIDA was able to take that technical aspect and apply what Bergenholtz Racing had done in the drifting arena to help win. You know what I mean? But don't get me wrong. Even to this day, I love it. I love watching it. I love the spectacle. I love seeing the Nitto drivers succeed. It's the greatest feeling in the world because that's your arena. That's what you guys know. That's how you guys know how to succeed. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I was a rookie at all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think what you guys brought in from the drag racing world was maybe too soon. You're a little ahead of your time as a team owner, implementing all of this data that a lot of us drivers didn't even understand at the time. I mean, I didn't even really get good of understanding what changes that were made to a car until like my 10th year in FD.
Well, your butt dyno got better.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, your butt. Yeah,
it's
know
tough.
What
that is one of the hardest things to becoming a professional driver is to understand what changes are being made to the car and how the car is going to react differently on the track because of that.
Your butt's really sensitive.
Yeah, it gets extra sensitive. You know, that's why a lot of times you can have a rider or a driver. You know, I always refer to this Supercross and motocross guys because their bike setups are so crucial in the bumps and the whoops and all of that. So if you need a good crew chief that can look at how your car or your motorcycle is reacting to be able to set it up properly if the driver can't give you the proper feedback.
Totally. Yeah, and to speak specifically about that, you know, the question Denofa being in the RX-8, like, I personally was shooting for Nitto at that time, and, like, I saw Denofa's level elevate, clearly. Like, it went from, like, oh my god, I'm so focused in what's going on, to, like, oh, I can just drive and shred right now, and that car ripped, like...
Yeah.
Dude, okay, get this, okay? I've had, 4 drivers in that car, right? I think 4, wait, 3.
JTP,
okay? 3 drivers in...
JTP, June Mang, and Chelsea. I forget who...
Okay. And I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
And we have data logs on all 3, right? At Irwindale, right? You overlap them, they're like, dude, Chelsea's an animal, dude. Oh my god. That's what, like, I'm a big data nerd. My brother's a big data nerd, right? And he has all the Motec data on that. And when you overlay that stuff, dude, Chelsea, man, you look at the G's, you look at throttle position sensor, and then you look at the steering potentiometer, and you're just going, fuck.
Yo, I remember at that first Seattle that he drove that. Remember, he drove that RX-8 on that first, and I remember he chucked it into that bank, and everyone was like, "What are you doing, bro? Chill." And he just, we were just like, "Well, all right, you've done it."
Chelsea's data logs are just. And that's on a log. Visually, what I do at the track is I'll just look for smoke. You know what I mean? When you see smoke and you don't see the smoke disappear, it's like the driver is committed. Like Bless was like that.
Yeah.
Chelsea's like that. And it smoked the whole run because that's the TPS, throttle position sensor, right? And you could tell, but the things Chelsea did, it's funny, the RX-8's right there too. I still got his name on it too.
Dude, nice, dude.
It's cool seeing running.
It is.
Oh, cool! There it is.
Dude, I haven't seen that thing in ages.
Still looking good too.
So I have it here at the shop.
You still have the three rotor turbo in it?
Yeah, it's still got the 3 rotor. I still start it up every 2 weeks because it's a rotary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gotta stop collecting cars, so it's up for sale. But
come on,
I still have all my drag cars. I mean, dude, I'm what do you call that? A hoarder.
You're a hoarder. You're a car hoarder.
Yo, and just the quick plug. Are you trying to sell that car? Did I just see that?
Yeah, I'm trying to sell it.
Yeah, so everyone, he's trying to sell that car. It's there.
How much power is that thing making? 7 something?
Well, okay. Biggest thing with drag racers, right, is dynos aren't, I mean, they're not, you get a baseline with a dyno, right? And last time it dynoed, it was like 650 horsepower, right? And that's at 14 pounds of boost, okay?
Yeah.
The real world dyno is when you're on track. That's when you know, right? Based on loads, how track conditions, and making sure that the lamp, you know, your mixture is correct, right? Yeah. That's the real world dyno. We never dynoed it after 650, but mind you, that's 650 at 14 pounds, right? And last time it was driven at Irwindale, Chelsea was driving it, right? And that was at 28 pounds of boost.
Oh.
I don't know.
So you're probably making over 1,000 at that point.
Yeah, and so I don't know where Chelsea stands on it, but I check on him year after year before after he started driving Mustang. I go, hey, is our car still the fastest car you've ever driven? He goes, oh yeah, it's still the fastest. I don't know what it's making, but we don't dyno on a dyno just to figure out numbers.
Yeah.
We baselined it, and every track, depending on the barrel or the barometer, right? How much oxygen is in it, right? Oh, hello? I think hello, can you hear me still?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Based on the barrel, right? Each track has its own fuel map, right? Because we don't like doing corrections. We don't like doing that where the computer starts doing stuff, right? Make sure the baseline whether or not the mixture's right, and then that's it. But I don't know, things probably making 1,000.
I would say it's definitely making 1,000 at 28 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what size turbo's on that thing? A 40 or a 50 series?
42, because
Yeah.
rotaries have a lot of exhaust energy.
Yeah.
Energy. So it's probably a GT42 Garrett unit, and it worked beautifully. Beautifully. But yeah, it makes some ponies. Some serious ponies.
How much? Do you know what that car weighs off the top of your head?
That thing's a tank, dude. We built that to SCCA spec, so the cage is pretty stout, 1 3/4 rather than 1.5 inches, 0.95.
Dang.
Right? And so it weighed something like 3,100 plus pounds with Chelsea in it.
What?
Right? So it's pretty heavy. But the G's on it, I mean, you just pick, like, same thing in drag racing, right? You may have GM had 1,600 horsepower. We had only 1,400. But we were planning all of it to the ground, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with all the logs with June Mag, Chelsea, JTP, right? With Chelsea, right? We were able to throw everything to the ground. You know what I mean? And even with the new G2 moat, we call it the moat. You know, internally, the mother of all tires, right?
Yeah.
The G2, right? Man, you put that power to the ground, right? It's a little uncomfortable to drive. If you get used to it and are committed to the throttle, boy, you're gonna be flying.
Well, that's what I was referring to earlier when I said you telling us how we need to set up our cars, either dangerously and almost borderline uncontrollable or controllable and competitive.
Well, what you do, right, is it's funny hearing some of the stories, right, on the radio and in text, right? Oh, you know, I'm not going to name any drivers, but certain drivers, right, will go, I want more, give me more, and, you know, more grip, right? And then the spotter,
No, don't want it,
yeah.
Need it, absolutely need it. Don't want it, but I need it.
Yeah, but some of you drivers I can't name, right, would go, oh man, he wanted more, so we gave him more, and he liked it. and I'm looking at my dad, and I was like, boy, dude, that car is flying. And then a top 5 competitor come up to me at one of the events and say, hey, can you slow down your drivers, right? And this guy's a kick-ass driver, right? And the driver goes, can you slow him? I go, man, dude, they love it that fast, bro. What are you gonna do if you don't got NATOs, man? I don't know what to tell you, bro. That's why we call it the mother of all tires, dude.
Yep. It really is. Really is nothing like I've ever experienced before, as far as a competition tire. It's unbelievable. Yeah. It's got everything.
That's some Nitto drag racing, Harry Kong technology right there, bro. Yep. Go big or go home. But you guys are getting used to it. You know what I mean? You guys are getting used to it. Man,
it'll be my second year on it, so it'll be good for sure. I mean, it's gonna only get better for sure. All right.
I know you like it.
All right, Ron. We're gonna see if we got any more questions going here.
Go ahead.
Which cars?
The cars
cars.
Ron,
Do you have the ability to do a walk around your shop there, Ron?
can you pick up your camera and walk around your shop a little bit, or no?
Okay. Yeah, I can. Let me see. Okay, let me flip it. Okay, this is obviously Napoleon Motorsports where I'm at during the day. Oh, here's this. Okay, this is the, we've gotten in obviously the electric car is on hiatus. So we're working on side-by-side, right?
Nice.
Side-by-side is up and coming, right?
Yeah.
So this Yamaha started off at basically 2,200 pounds. And so we got it, I can't say how light we got, but we got it light, right? We're all normally aspirated. Here's a Can-Am we're working on. And then obviously Joe over here, Joe Napoleon, he's working on the shock dyno. One of the biggest things is, you know, getting your shocks equalized, right? And making sure that, you know, you can create different maps by different valving. So Joe's at work here, equalizing our shocks right now. And then we're gonna do some tricky stuff to really control the track. So
Cool.
It's pretty cool. And then obviously there's the RX-8. You know, this is from 2011. You know, it's still in good condition. Interior is still all nice.
What trans you guys running in that?
G-Force, which Chelsea liked to break all the time. And then obviously it's a 3-rotor motor, still clean, still runs. You know. Yeah.
Yep.
35K gets you the whole thing.
Based off of Tuerck's experience, you're going to want to latch those hood pins when you're done.
Yeah, I've had one
I
or
don't
two
remember
of them.
him flipping the hood up. And then this is our fab. This is our fab area. We do all our fab right here. Obviously, Napoleon Motorsports, Trans Am TA2 racing back in the day. There's the office, storage, and then and then obviously we're going to expand into here because side-by-side
Whoa.
racing is getting too crazy. So we're going to do a bunch of side-by-side racing. This is the Raptor we're doing with some crazy bed. And, you know, nothing like Elon Musk's, you know, truck, but, you know, we're doing a crazy aluminum bed on it. And then storage. But this is basically the skunk, what we call skunk works of turnkey industry.
Yep. Awesome, dude.
So,
place,
and then
place looks amazing.
obviously this pad is completely level to some like 0.00 of an inch or something. And then what we do is, the thing that's so good about this pad is this is what they call a pull down machine, right? And we put all these scales up, right? And then we have we have hydraulic rams that we attach to the car, right?
Yeah.
And based on our data logging, we can simulate what the alignment is at a particular corner based on our shock pods, right? And then obviously this is the device that plugs it all in.
Yeah.
And then we can simulate what it does on a corner. And so, you know, that way we can find certain ways to get better on turn 9, turn 10, turn 24. And we can find the problem simply emulating what we data logged on the shock pots on our pull down.
That's pretty awesome.
It's a pretty cool device. We got all kinds of trickery here for a lot.
I lost.
Whoa, where am I?
He's back on.
All right, let me zoom in. There you go.
All right.
So yeah, this is the shop. Obviously Napoleon Motorsports, we come up with all the crazy stuff for Turnkey. Turnkey is a company that builds trailers for oil and gas, the government, motorsports. We're now getting into the medical industry. So, and then all the crazy stuff, you know, all the innovation comes out of this shop. So that, let's say a customer wants something different, right? Or they want to fulfill a problem and solve it, right? So it comes into Napoleon Motorsports, and we come up the craziest. That's why we compare this particular department, this room, right, to Skunk Works. And you know, we come up with crazy things, crazy solutions. You know, it's not thinking out of the box. Joe Napoleon, I call him Crazy Joe. You know what I mean? But then again, I'm crazy Ron too. You know, I think of crazy stuff to do.
Yeah, I was going to say,
you know
we
what I
got
mean?
some names for you too, my friend. That's for sure.
All right, Ron, we're gonna have to wrap it up. We're past our time, and we appreciate you coming on and showing us around Napoleon and sharing some of your pretty badass old drag race stories. And always appreciate you at the track. And I'm gonna fulfill that obligation with that $1,000 you're putting down. So
I got a G roll on you. Don't let me down.
all right, Ron. Pleasure talking, man. We'll see you at the track soon, all right?
Nigga or nothing, bro.
All right, later, brother.
Awesome.
All right, later.
All right. All right. Well,
Ron,
that was fun.
Ron's the man, dude.
Ron is the
he is just like that at the racetrack. He's super fun to be around, super high energy, as you can see, and loves to give you as much information as he possibly can to see you win on track.
yeah, I think it's safe to say that he clearly has helped advance drag racing, drifting, and just anything in motorsports that he's into. I mean, he's so into it and is obviously so excited to like be engaged with technology and learning. Like, yeah, what a legend.
Absolutely.
That was fun.
All right, we got maybe 2 questions we can answer before we sign off. Because sorry guys, we're running a little bit late here, and Ryan's got stuff to do still.
We've got stuff to do.
But we appreciate all you tuning in. If you guys are still on, we'll try to get something going here.
I know you answered it earlier, but someone's asking, how do you guys feel about each round being a double header?
It's going to be
I didn't know that.
It's going to be very difficult. The doubleheader thing is going to be super difficult. We don't know how the weekend run of events is going to work yet, as far as how practice and qualifying and all of that is going to work. But the drivers and the team and the crew are going to be absolutely dead come Sunday evening at the end of these rounds. So, you know, it just is what it is. We'll prepare as much as possible, and I think a lot of it is going to be the endurance of your car and how it can last, and your team to go with that, as well as a driver, because every single weekend you are putting such a maximum output of mental into driving a car with just that fast hand-eye coordination, all that you're mentally drained by the end of the weekend. I usually like taking a full day off just to be able to chill and relax after an FD round, because it does take, you kind of need to push the reset button and relax to feel normal again.
Well, I was just thinking from like a media standpoint, how would I go about that? And like at the end of a weekend, you are drained creatively. Like you're just smoked on just every idea you've had, and like I can't even imagine picking it back up and being like, okay, let's do it again. So yeah, I imagine though it'll kind of thin out the you know, the men from the boys or whatever. Like we'll start to see the reliability, who's got that, who's got the tires. Like all these things are really going to come into play, I imagine now, right?
But also you might see a lot of people be able to turn it around. Say somebody comes in, say this is how they do run it. Say there's a Friday practice qualifying, and then you run a full event day Saturday. Your car, you can't figure out your car setup. The gearing's wrong, the suspension doesn't feel good, you don't know what tire pressures to run. You get matched up with somebody and you get smoked in top 32, knocked out. And then you go back to the drawing board with your team Saturday, because you know you got to drive again on Sunday. You figure out all your issues, you look at all your data, you're like, okay, figured all this stuff out, boom, throw a setup in a car, come out the next day on Sunday. However they do run it, maybe we'll do a little bit of practice and we're already seeded into qualifying. That's the only way I see it working, is you qualify into Sunday based on your finishing position on Saturday. I don't know, I'm just stating that as a potential. And then you come out swinging on Sunday with a super proper car setup and you just walk the field and win. I think we'll see a little bit of that too, potentially.
So do you feel that the you know, like some years you'll have these rounds where there's just like a complete random turn of events happen and then it just throws the entire championship off, right? So do you think this will happen more this time or less? Probably more,
That's
right?
really tough. I
mean, there's a chance for it to happen more.
I don't know, for a driver like me, I usually like having a lot of warm up to the event. I like, unless I show up and a car is mint off the trailer, which sometimes that does happen, and those are usually events that I do really well at.
Sure.
Other times it's just like a slow like build up, like, okay, let's get our car set up, work on this, and then eventually like the car is feeling legit. Sometimes it comes late, sometimes it doesn't even come until top 8, and we're still making changes to the car. But I think that the drivers that can set up their cars quickly and that have the team and the proper parts to maintain a full doubleheader weekend will be
It's going to be no joke for sure.
will be the winners, because it's going to be an endurance race rather than just 8 rounds of competition. It's going to be pretty intense for sure.
This is going to mix it up. And I'm also curious to see too, we've talked about how Brian Hartsock from Unicorn Garage switching over to Hartsock Racing soon from a branding perspective, of course, and then you got Dom, you got all these dudes, but now you get to work with the Papadakis concepts, right? So I imagine when you come off trailer, you will be ready a little bit more because you do have other eyes and technology and
right.
Bergenholtz was saying years of experience, right?
We're gonna have the experience of of the guys in the team that have already run that car for 2-3 seasons already.
Right.
So I can tell my crew chief Brian Hartsock what I want changed or what I'm feeling, and then he can, if we're not nailing it, we can always just refer to, hey Steph, this is what we're going for, and he can probably give us more insight or tell us exactly what we need to do on the car. So
totally.
There's definitely a big playbook that we can take from Steph for car setup, and I think that's going to be massively a massive help this year in competition for sure, especially now that we need. You really do want to come off the trailer with the proper car setup and just come out swinging.
It sounds like it's going to be pretty imperative this year to have that happen.
Yeah.
Or else,
Yep.
Any more questions?
Someone asked if you could drift a classic, which one would it be? A JDM classic?
A JDM classic?
Competitively or for fun, though? Because those are
I
two totally
will
different
say
things.
for fun.
Let's just say for fun, if you were to drive any old JDM car, was it? Any old JDM car to just shred for fun?
I'd say, the 2 cars that did it for me, or sorry, the 3 cars, or maybe the 4 cars that did it for me. Kuma Kubo's S15 back in the early D1 days or mid 2000s. He had one of the Hollinger boxes. That's the first time I ever found about Hollinger transmissions. And then I've always wanted one up until the day that I got one a couple years ago. So that his S15, and then Kazama's S15, and then who am I forgetting here?
There's a lot of Hachi classics too, and if you want to talk about the Toyota world,
well, of course
you got
there is.
Ueno
Yes.
and Habino. They had 2 of the most classic 8.6s.
Ueno was D1 champion in what? 04?
I think a couple of years, right?
03? No, I can't even remember.
Yeah, and he was going.
He
up
won
against,
one year
Skylines.
and a naturally aspirated 8.6.
Exactly.
This thing was ridiculous.
Exactly. So I think something like that would be amazing just to rip, especially if you got to period correct, take that car out of time and reset it now.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. But yeah, Kazama's green S15, that thing really put it on another level for me of when I used to, I think he won that year too, that he came out with that car and actually absolutely just destroyed it on track.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then top secret S15 that, why am I forgetting homeboy's name? He competed in FD2 in the Apex FD car years back.
Yeah, I can't think.
He was a champion in the S15 for top secret.
Yeah, I can't think of it.
Oh my God, I can't freaking remember his name. Sorry about that, but yeah, that car too, which actually my homie now has, Colton from Redline Restorations, that has the freaking coolest JDM collection of all time that he is building. It is absolutely absurd. And he says he's only just begun. It's unbelievable. So cool. I'm actually going to visit him pretty soon, hopefully, in the next month or two, and check out his place and maybe get to drive my old pro car again. Hey-o.
Yep.
Looking forward to that. All right, guys, we're going to leave it off on that note. Thank you all for tuning in. We ran long. I hope you guys enjoyed Ron's stories and his enthusiasm, because he is an awesome dude. And of course, Ryan, my homie Ryan here, for tuning in for another week.
Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
Appreciate it, dog.
We'll see you guys next Thursday for another Team Nitto at Home Talking with Tuerck. Every Thursday until we stop doing Thursdays. I don't even know. I'll keep you guys posted. 2 p.m. PST next week. See you guys. Peace.